got to love that. That is awesome. Anyways, welcome to Prepper Chicks After Dark. It is the 18th day of February. We are more than halfway through the month already. Imagine that. We are here tonight to play some Conflicted, the survival card game. We're going to work through some real life scenarios out there and discuss how we would handle certain situations. JD is not with us tonight. He is working hard to get deck number 2 sent out to everyone. So if you haven't ordered, check it out over on our Facebook page for the link. And let's rock and roll. So who's with us tonight? The girls outweigh the boys tonight, which is awesome. So I'm excited about that. Yeah. So,
hey, don't count me as one.
Let's get everybody introduced here. Aliko, welcome back, dude.
Thank you, Lori. I am repping www.shtfready.com. We are a prepping survivalist website. We share ideas and we help each other learn and prepare. We keep the tinfoil hat people out and we focus on prepping and all aspects surrounding it. We've all heard of the ant and the grasshopper story. Our website teaches you to be the ant.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Chris, welcome back, dude.
Thank you much. Chris with aeseries.com. I've got a couple books. We're going to third. It's about basically rebuilding after civilization falls, starting over, and kind of takes a twist. Again, aeseries.com, and I'll post it in the chat room. Sweet.
Fantastic. Returning with us is one of our alumni, Michelle, and from Princess with a Gun. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, Lori.
How's things been in your world?
It's been pretty darn awesome. Back-to-back classes all day long, getting everybody gunned up and trained up. It's a rockin' feeling.
Awesome. Love to hear that. If you guys did not know, Princess with a Gun is an instructor for firearms out on the west side of the country. She teaches in, where are you at now? Utah, Cali, Nevada?
We're in Nevada. We're going to head to San Diego this week, thanks to the Ninth Circuit Court overturning their decisions that San Diego's unconstitutional. I'll start doing some classes down there once a month.
Fantastic. Love to hear that. Love to hear that. And with us tonight, a special guest, a newbie. And she hosts another show here on UCY.tv. So please stop in the mornings at 9 a.m. and listen to her. Jules from Before the First Cup is with us tonight. Welcome, Jules.
Hi, Prepper Chick. Hi, everybody. This has been my first time, but I am definitely in the mindset to play this show. I've been playing since the beginning with you guys in the chat room, so this should be a good time.
Glad to have you with us. This is awesome. I've been looking forward to having you on.
Well, thank you. I've been looking forward to being on.
Cool.
So just don't kill me, okay?
To go. We're the first to go.
Yeah, if we do. Yeah, Chris will eat anyway, so.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's get to our first question tonight. So, Chris, do you have one made up for us?
I do. So I've got 2 different ones. I think I'm going to go with a little bit crazier one here. All right, so this is from the project that Alika and I are working on. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm just going to give you the summary of it. So imagine, and I'm sure somebody lives near a dam, right? You know, a reservoir of some kind. So, and this is the purpose of this is there's some that are super realistic and some that are more fictional and some that are in the middle. So this is kind of in the middle. So imagine that you live in a valley of some kind with a reservoir, over your head, basically. And, for whatever reason, the rain's falling and the overflow system, the spillway system fails. And, the emergency broadcast system comes on, alerts everybody that the dam is failing and they're, trying to evacuate. You got to get out of there as fast as you can because the whole valley is going to be flooded. So the scenario is, what do you do in a scenario like that? Do you, run as fast as you can? Do you get to high ground? Do you, sit back and have a drink and, take it in? Or, what do you do? How do you get out of a scenario like that? And, what could you do to prepare for something like that?
Gotcha. So dam busts, and you're downriver.
Yeah, you're downriver. You got to run and pray that you make it, and or kiss your ass goodbye. One of the two.
Gotcha. Well, let's go to an established survivalist. Alika, what do you think? What would you do?
I would just reenact that one scene from Titanic with the two old couple.
Float on a board or something.
There was enough room for both of them.
That's hilarious.
Oh, you mean at the end, you're not going to stand there with your arms outstretched?
No.
That's what that. Oh, okay.
I was referring to the other scene where the old couple just said screw it and just laid in the bed and wait for the water to come in.
Oh, okay. Too many scenes from the Titanic. You gotta break it.
Yeah, okay, but seriously, you've got water coming at you. You don't think you have enough time to get out of there?
Well, if I lived in a area like that, I would have a back or emergency egress plan and try and get to high ground and take the road less traveled because everybody else would be on the freeways trying to get out. That would pretty much be the only simple thing. And if I was too late to get to my planned route, I would look for the highest thing I could crawl up on, a water tower, a cell phone tower, something to keep my head afloat.
Okay.
Rushing water, you really can't run.
Yeah. There's no
Princess,
running.
hey, Princess, you actually live in an area like that with a lot of dams and whatnot. Given any thought to what you would do?
Well, thankfully, we're already on the mountain above the lake, so that's a little bit good. But Captain Rondi there of the Air and Sea is not only a pilot. If we couldn't escape in our little plane, that hopefully he would have a boat that we could be on top of the water. That's my thinking.
Alrighty.
Hopefully your little boat doesn't get capsized and you get swept under and drowned.
Yeah, I would be worried about all the debris coming with the water.
Yeah, the houses and the cars and yeah.
Well, then I hope that the plane is stocked and ready to go.
There you go.
Do you keep it in your backyard?
We don't keep it far.
Oh, that's good. Jules, what would you do?
Well, this is actually something that I've spent some time thinking about, and especially if you have a place where you're planning on bugging out, one of the things that you do is look at the topography. So, I know I don't live downriver of any type of dam, but I do live in a place where, it was kind of carved out by glaciers at one point, and so you do have lots of hills. My thought was there absolutely, if you've watched any tsunami videos, like with Fukushima or any type of major flood like that, there is no way you're getting out of there. And you guys are absolutely right with the cars and the debris.
Yeah.
Though you'd think a Noah's Ark might work, it'd have to be a really big ark.
Yeah. If you've got a cargo ship in your backyard, you'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't think the roads are going to help because if the alert's already going off, half the town's going to be on the road. So, back wouldn't it maybe, and heading to the highest point, at least that you could find, maybe climb some tall trees. Not that that's really going to help if there's a massive, deluge, but.
Well, you bring up a good point. There are maps that you can go to. Search on the internet where it will show you the highest points around where you live, and a lot of people aren't aware of that.
Even on Google Maps, you can set to topo and take a look at it in that perspective. But yeah, I would highly recommend it. Always find the highest point around where you live, because someday you might need it. Definitely.
Chris, since it was your question, what would you do?
Ooh, see, that's the thing is I rarely have an answer for my own question. I leave that to Alika. So, honestly, the reason I thought of that question is because Arizona does have quite a few reservoir systems like that. Like if, we have a system that there's four lakes that are all chained together. And if one failed, they pretty much are all guaranteed to fail, I believe. And so, I used to live right in the path of that. So that's what got me thinking about this. But in the area I live, there's lots of hills and mountains and everything. And I mean, I could take my vehicle and drive 5 minutes from my house, and, you know, get on a hill that I think is 500-600 feet. So I would think that would be enough to, you know, to be more than out of the way. But pending I was out running around and, you know, maybe I wasn't near one of those hills, I think then your best bet is to, you know, look for the tallest building. You know, like for me in Arizona, there's only the downtown areas that have high buildings. Pretty much everything else is flat. So if you're not one of those downtown areas, then yeah, do like Alika said at the beginning, like look for a cell tower or, you know, a large power pole or something like that, but you may not want to be near that when the water's rising. But
yeah, hang on to the wires. Tie yourself to the wires.
Yeah, it'll keep you warm at least.
Yeah, and you know, can I just mention though that cell tower, be careful with those because I know that some of the cell and some of the radio towers put out some pretty heavy duty energy. Yeah. You wouldn't want to be there
You
too
wouldn't want to be up there for 5 hours.
Chris is just going to barbecue you before he eats you this time.
Yeah.
Mom would have perhaps said you're just going to shoot everyone for their boat.
There you go. Well, yeah,
I
you
know.
gotta have the cargo ship, so it's more like a pirate, hijacking a cargo ship kind of thing.
Well, I know where I grew up in Ohio, we were in the middle of the Muskingum Watershed District, which was a bunch of man-made, they were built by the Army and a series of lakes over there. So at any one time, they would go. And a lot of people, when they bought their homes over there, didn't realize, if the dams went, they were screwed. Even here in Indiana, you know, you see the same house for sale over and over again until you go to go through the rainy season. You don't realize how bad their yards flood all the time unless you've lived around there for a while. Mm-hmm. So, you know, probably your best bet is just don't move into a home that's downriver from a dam.
Yeah. If you got the reservoir that's 300 feet tall right across the street from you, you should probably not live there.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people don't even realize there's a dam there.
Well, that's the thing. You know, like some of these people, like they're saying in the chat room, like they're like 43 miles away or whatever. But like I was saying, like if the system that we have set up, it's along the Salt River. There's like 4 lakes. I mean, if all of those things were to go at once for whatever reason, I mean, it doesn't matter how far. I mean, it'll flood, you know, central Phoenix, you know, 60 miles away. So, I mean, it's irrelevant. If you're down a valley of some sort and a large enough reservoir breaks, it doesn't matter how far you're out. I mean, you're gonna get something. You're gonna get maybe only a few feet by the time it hits you, but still, you know, you'd like to prepare for that, I think, too. So.
Well, let's talk about the aftermath. Mm-hmm. Because, like Joel said, I've seen Fukushima stuff and with the tsunami coming in, how many of those people had the supplies just in a bug out bag or something that they had with them for the aftermath of getting stuck in something like that if they did survive.
Yeah, after everything's wiped out and covered with water.
So name 3 things that you think you would need to have after a major flooding like that to survive for a couple weeks until you get rescued. Alika?
Alika, survival expert.
Definitely fire. You want to disinfect water and cook your food. But I also have trying to ensure that I have a lot of iodine tablets or Clorox or something to disinfect water as a secondary source.
Because pretty much all your water is going to be shot at that point, correct?
Yeah, dysentery is going to get your ass pretty fast.
Yeah.
Now, for a fire, would you have matches? What would you have?
Being that everything's wet and disgusting.
What other options are there?
Yeah, I was getting to that. Fire matches are definitely out, and even, you know, your regular old Bic lighters. I would definitely do a fire striker magnesium block. Basically the waterproof methods of getting a fire going, fuel bricks or tablets, they all ignite when wet. Stormproof matches, that kind of stuff always works. And then Ghosts of Jimmy mentioned dry clothes. That'd be the most important part because you don't want to catch a cold.
So fire, dry clothes,
and water, methods to ensure that you have clean water.
Okay, so tablets.
Tablets, yeah.
Okay. Chris, what would you have?
Well, I was thinking the same thing, like or a series of those water purification straws or something along those lines. I like those straw things. I mean, I don't know, you guys are way more preppier than me, but I think those straw things are cool because you can use it for quite a while before you have to throw it away or use another one. And they're super small and everything.
You ever try and suck on one of those things?
I've never tried to suck down one. I've just looked on Amazon, okay? Don't beat me up so bad.
It's not as easy as it looks.
Okay, so basically you just have to suck hard. Okay.
Really? You
Banana.
Okay, moving on. Joel, anything you would add?
Well, I've always, people have laughed at me my whole life because I've always carried this huge wad of keys with me, but see, what they don't realize is that the huge wad of keys for me is also a weapon, but not just a weapon, it's a tool. So on my keys, I do have one of those little fire starter striker things, mace or pepper spray, because I think that after a disaster, depending on how much help is there or not there, you might have to take care of yourself. You know what I mean?
I was going to say gun before she cut me off too, but that's life.
Yeah, but also with moisture, you don't know. What if your gunpowder gets wet? At least with a little squirty can. Right?
Does your gunpowder
you bring up a good point.
Yeah. A rad meter is always on my keys. I have one of those little portable ones. You don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
And my Swiss Army knife. And then Life Straw, of course. I do have one of those.
You just have to suck real hard.
Yeah, real hard. Sure. Well, depending on how much particulate matter, how much mud's in it. Jimmy's, the dry clothes I think are important because you don't want to get, gangrene or, rotting appendages, but also I had a bad experience 10 days in the Adirondacks. First time my boyfriend's taking me roughing it in college. And nobody thought about waterproofing. We didn't have a waterproof sleeping bag, a waterproof tent. So I'll tell you what we brought the next time, a box of garbage bags. In a wet situation, a box of garbage bags will help keep anything dry.
I can sell you those bags.
Okay, what are your thoughts on choice of material for clothing? Would you want cotton? Would you want nylon? Would you want wool?
Almost nylon might be better just because it dries faster and it's lighter weight when it's wet. Cotton, can get very heavy, though I don't, moisture and polyester, let's say, could give you fungal problems. But,
yeah, you don't want fungal problems.
No,
but even wet
it's
wool,
warm.
Yeah, even wet wool will keep you warm, even if it's wet.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, like here, that's what I was thinking, like in the middle of summertime here when it's 120 degrees, if you're up to your whatever in water, oh my god, would that be disgusting. You'd have algae, bacteria, and just like...
Well, I think Rachel, when she was on the show, she talked about a lot of people think that after a downgrade that, you're going to die from being shot, when the truth is you're going to die from disease.
Pooping your brains out, yeah.
And things like that first, way before you'll end up getting shot. But, Princess, what do you think? Anything you want to add?
I'm thinking I'm still staying on my boat and I'm getting some safety flares just to alert somebody where I am to come rescue me.
They'll see you in the cargo ship, don't worry.
Hopefully I'll float downstream to the ocean.
There you go.
That's a long float.
I was going to say, from Arizona, that's a long float.
It is through some mountains of California.
You'd be like Noah up there on the mountain.
I think
I'd like my little Glock store spandex stuff to hold my gun, even though my gunpowder might be wet. I think my little spandex holster things on my underwear, it'd keep the clothing dry.
Those are like Spanx, but with a gun holster kind of thing?
Correct.
Those things are awesome. Yeah.
Yes, they are.
I don't wear those, but I've seen those.
You can. They make some for boys.
I know. I've seen that. But it's always
you might enjoy it anyways.
Muscle guy, the guy with like a six-pack and like like X and everything. You don't ever see a fat guy wearing a spandex gun.
I don't want to see that. Thank you.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you just, you don't see that. It doesn't work the same.
Oh, goodness.
All right. Well, I think we've covered this one, so let's move on to the next question. We might be able to get 3 in tonight.
There you go.
I'm gonna do this question.
Yes.
It was sent into me from Mom with a Prep, who's actually in the chat room tonight. Hi, Mom, and everybody else in the chat room. It's good to see you guys. Here's the scenario. A dirty bomb has gone off in your city. You've been separated from your spouse, and they have not yet come home. You've sealed up your house to the best of your ability. After the government has announced that it is unsafe to come out, do not try to treat people who have been exposed. Your spouse returns home at that time with a child that he or she has found. Do you let them in and reseal the house, or do you make them stay outside and hope the authorities will come by with testing kits and antibiotics? And the bomb that went off was a toxin, not just radiation.
So the toxin's gonna like infect people, or it's gonna get you sick or anything?
It's got a disease in it, like measles or something.
So it's gonna disease you and give you radiation sickness.
Correct. Now your spouse is gone when it went off, but you've been able to seal your house up.
That's dirty.
Your spouse comes home after the fact with a small child that they found somewhere. Mm-hmm. Do you let him in? So, Michelle, what do you think?
You know, I'm not really experienced with that kind of stuff, but I'm kind of a loner when it comes to mass bombing gas things. I'm kind of hunkering down and not letting anybody in.
Not even your husband?
Maybe not.
Take that baby and get the hell out.
He's not listening.
Oh, he's not listening? We're going to bribe your ass. We're going to blackmail your ass and send it to him. You need to fly us to Hawaii next week, or we're gonna blackmail you.
Mm.
Our plane won't make it that far.
Well, that might be a good thing.
Well, you just land your plane on your cargo ship and then sail the rest of the way.
We can leave the landing gear up and coast in, but yeah, it won't be flying.
I mean, you do stand the chance of contaminating yourself and being miserable. So, okay. So Michelle's a no-go. So Chris, what are you going to do?
That's funny. Mom says, there's your kid wild card. I had to give her a shout out for that. That's funny. So for me, so it's not my kid, it's some random kid. I don't think my wife would do that. She'd be like, you're on your own, kid. But, I think, if she actually did that, I would have to let her in because I would be concerned for her safety.
What if you have your baby is in your house with you? She comes home
brand
with
new
another
baby,
kid.
and she comes home with some virused up other kid. Well, I would probably say, okay, go ahead and come in, but stay in a garage or something like that. Like quarantine them off, like let them in, but don't let them all the way in until they can be properly, diagnosed or tested or whatever. So let them in so that they're safe and not getting raped and pillaged, but keep them away from the rest of the family kind of thing. So.
Okay, good. Alika, what do you think?
It'd be the same lines as Chris. I mean, if I had enough plastic and duct tape to tape up my own house, I probably have enough left over to cordon off a room to make a safe room for them and just observe them and wait for the proper help to arrive. It just wouldn't make any sense to leave them just hanging outside to get victimized by something or somebody. And that way you can keep an eye on your loved one and whoever the hell the kid was.
Okay. Jules, what do you think?
I was taking notes on the things that I would do, and I mean, you guys hit on them. I had honestly thought the same thing with put them into the garage for the kid. Studying any type of radiological incident, they always recommend you have some sort of anteroom. So if there were an incident like that, I probably would have already taped off an area around the door where, you could come in and disrobe, take all of your contaminated garments off, and then get into some sort of clean suit. I mean, obviously, if I haven't been outside yet, I haven't been contaminated, but anyone coming in would. If you've prepared for things like this, you probably have some Tyvek suits and things of that nature.
Isn't the radiation going to get you anyway, though, regardless of the virus thing?
It depends on what it is, though. I mean, if it was a dirty bomb, it probably was only in that localized area that was contaminated.
If you're just lucky enough.
Yeah, if you were lucky enough to be there. And, once you get the contaminated clothing off and then you go bathe, as long as you didn't ingest it internally, you might be in decent shape. You probably breathe some in, but you could probably get a good majority off of your body.
Yeah, and if you leave them outside, they're still going to suck up the rest of that, whatever's out there too. So you mentioned quarantining off an area around your door. What about a path to the bathroom where they can access a shower?
Yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. I mean, once, or you have them disrobe. I mean, just like in, some of the dystopian movies we've probably all seen over the years where, Outbreak or, they take them into the glass room and they make them disrobe and then they spray them down with the decontamination.
No, they'll get a hose and a kiddie pool.
Yeah.
It's better than nothing. You know what? It's definitely better than nothing.
But, you could get them to take all their...
Clothes again.
Have them take all their outside clothes off and, slip them quickly underneath the plastic, some Tyvek suits to make it to the bathroom, I guess.
So you're in the house.
Face mask, an N95 face mask would be a
Who
good...
has all that, though? Do you guys have all that?
Oh,
Are you serious?
I know, yeah.
You can actually get 100 masks now if you look for them.
Yeah, no, they're cheap. They're cheap, but you should always have them, guys, because not just... N95s, I'm going to tell you, they're the ones that you use when you do fiberglass insulation. Okay, they're particulate masks, but they will protect you not only from fiberglass, but they have smaller nanometer scale holes, you know what I mean? So there are surgical level masks that protect you from like the H1N1. Remember when that was going around? That was a big deal. There were surgical masks that you could wear that should protect you from that, but also from many of the radiological materials. So
yeah,
I would always recommend a box at least or two.
Wow.
Keep them in your bug out bag.
Mm-hmm. I had no idea. Learning every time.
When you're sitting in the doctor's office, and you're looking through their drawers and stuff, you might want to check them out.
Just steal some from them. That's an excellent idea.
I didn't say that. You could borrow them and return them later.
You just said, yeah, right. Just look through their drawers and just borrow a few. It's not a big deal.
Hey,
do you know how much slingshot rubber we have? Ask my husband how much slingshot, the plastic bands they wrap around to cut your blood off when they're taking blood or whatever? Yeah. But it makes great slingshot rubbers. But what other things would you do? You talked about taping your windows and stuff. If there was a dirty bomb that went off and you were home, what are some other things that you guys could do to keep your family safe inside the home?
I know one thing. Obviously for the plastic you want 4 or 6 mil, but one of the things that I learned most people won't think of these. If you're sealing your house up, there are a few areas that you might not immediately think of. One is your chimney, if you had a fireplace. 2 is the vent above your toilet for your draw-out vent. You definitely got to wrap that up. Yeah. But 3, all around your pipes, under the sinks, and around behind the toilet.
And turn your furnace, your air conditioner, turn that stuff off, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I used to do that for a living. We'd air seal homes and stuff. Mm-hmm. And your air handler needs to be where your air return is, that needs to be sealed off as well. Mm-hmm. So all that, and even around, all you need to do for your doors and stuff is just add some tape around it. You don't need to do, you guys are talking plastic and all this. All you really need to do is take tape around
Lots of duct tape. Lots of duct tape.
Tape around the windows, tape around the doors.
Turn ceiling fans off. Anything that's going to move the air in your house.
Electrical outlets. Yes. You know what? You get a lot of airflow coming in from behind the walls from there. That's a good one.
Well, yeah, your light sockets, your electrical outlets.
Now, you possibly could end up with some contaminants in your house, a small amount. So I know I've seen anything that's laying on your counters, like if you have a bowl of fruit or anything like that, you need to get that stuff in your refrigerator where it's better protected. Make sure if you're going to sleep in your bed, lay an extra blanket over the top so you can take that off and crawl in there and not. Still wear your mask at night. Good idea to have a ham radio.
Jimmy brought up the attic access door too. Yeah, that's a good one. You want to tape that up.
Yeah. Plug any holes.
Plug your holes, for sure. Even your dryer vents too, like the one that goes outside for the dryer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And your tubing for your washer too. Plug your holes. Enough said.
Michelle had a good one. You
What did
mentioned
Michelle
something
say?
from your kitchen, Michelle. Did we lose her?
Oh, nope. Sorry, I'm still here. I have 3 different versions of the show going. But yes, our vent pops up and it vents right below the stove out to the outside wall. So that's a big hole that needs to be covered.
Yep.
Cool. Some good information there for everyone. I think we all would save our loved ones at this point, whether they're a child that we don't know or not, except for Michelle.
Oh, I offered to save him.
Okay. So we're back on track with them.
If you go read the back posts, yeah, it was go out with a bang.
Go out with a bang. Yeah.
A good way to test if you're sealing properly is just go old school with the candle, see if there's any air moving that flame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can also do it's kind of funny, but those electronic cigarettes, you know how they do smoke and stuff like that, like anything that creates steam or smoke or anything like that, you can see it draft towards the any air penetrations.
Well, I think with all the cold weather that we've had recently, if you haven't figured out where the holes are in your house, you haven't been paying attention.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, Mom is making fun of you, Chris, because you
I know. I'm like, why is she picking on me so much tonight?
Awesome. Good information, guys. Okay, next question.
Next question. All right, I have another one for you. Hold on, I gotta scroll up here. All right, so this one's another one of our me and Alika's little project here. So this one, okay, so imagine you're in like a high-rise building, in LA or New York or, whatever. So you're in a high-rise building, and I'm talking more than 40 floors, something fairly large. And it must be probably whatever. But so anyway, the building's gonna fall, right? Like an earthquake is coming, the building's, collapsing in on itself, and, maybe it's not a right then and there and it's just gone, but you have a little bit of a warning time. So, what do? Do you try and get to the roof? Do you try and get to the ground? Do you, take a leap of faith? What do you do in a scenario like this? You're in a building and, you can tell it's not holding itself up. What do you do in that scenario?
Well, what would you do?
What would I do?
Yeah.
Well, say you're high enough that, I don't know, you're probably more people are going to be running towards the bottom to get out. And so I think that, people will be congesting the stairways and all that, and you're just going to cluster it up so bad that nobody's going to get out anyway, or not as many people are going to get out.
How many stories are we talking about here? You said high rise.
Anything.
We're talking like Twin Towers?
Yeah, something that's high enough that you can't get to the bottom of it in like 5 minutes. So, pretty big, right? So, you can try and run down the stairs with everybody else. You can try and go to the roof. You can just sit and wait it out. You can leap through a window. You can whatever, right? So, I was thinking, and this is just my opinion, but I was thinking go to the roof because, I'd rather not get crushed by 20 million pounds of whatever, and you're probably not going to be able to run out the bottom in an orderly fashion. You're going to have to be pushing people and throwing them down the hallways or whatever. And
So
I don't
you would
feel
go,
like jump
you
through a
would
window,
go
so
up.
I would go up, hoping that, you know, maybe it collapses and some miracle happens and I get wedged between a filing cabinet or something. I don't know.
Well, Alika, this one probably hits close to home for you. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was already thinking about that. With that, this is where fitness would have to come into play and making sure that you're able to, try and get as close to the bottom as you can, to try and make it out of the building. It's just really, if I could have a slight chance of getting out, versus,
Hope and pray.
hoping and praying or getting up on the roof and, you know, falling to my death instead of getting crushed by 20 million tons of, rebar
Like
and
a Bronco, man.
glass.
Just write it down.
But, yeah, this is where, I would think fitness would have to come into play and you just, they have to get down as quick as you can. And when, adrenaline's pumping through you, you'll be pulling some Carl Lewis world records. It will be amazing how fast you can run. But
the other thing is you're gonna remember, like, hundreds and hundreds of other people are gonna be doing the same thing. So what do? I mean,
Don't take the elevator.
you're gonna have to do a mosh pit style get down there, or, you know, try and be the shepherd and have everybody flow, even though it might be mass confusion. Try and have everybody flow the same way you're going and not getting tangled up on people that might have fallen and whatnot. Just
trample to death and
yeah. I mean, the first instinct is to try and help somebody that's falling down, but you got, you know, 900 other people pushing against you. You're going to be one of the victims getting trampled too. So I just keep your head up and try and get down as quick as possible. And for some reason, if, you know, you got to the first floor and you're only about 100 feet away from the exit, and you know that thing's coming down, I would just try and find, something or, I don't know, door frame seems kind of stupid to say, but, something that you hope would come crushing down on you.
All right. Jules?
I actually have a friend who lives in a high-rise in LA, and a couple years back, he had no preps at all, and so we spent one night working through a prepper kit, and we bought all kinds of stuff on Amazon, and one of them was for this exact scenario. So what we came up with was to get some of that, the stranded rope, the one with the metal strands in it, you know, the survival rope. And we determined he was up on like the 12th floor or something. So we did calculations for the length of rope that he would need. And so that's what he bought with some of his mountain climbing clips, because that was exactly it. He said there's no way you're going to make it down the stairs, especially if there was a big earthquake and you had building damage. So the easiest way would be, we found a place in his apartment where he could actually anchor it tightly and securely, and he was going out the window. That was the plan.
there you go.
Is it rope with like Kevlar in it?
I don't think it's Kevlar. It's that stranded rope. So it's the military grade rope. You can find it.
Paracord? Is that
Yes, paracord. That's what we're talking about. And we were looking at it in 1,000-foot bundles, but
500.
Yeah. And I mean, you wouldn't have to travel with it because it would be in your place. It would be for your apartment, but he had it all set. So if he had to go out the window, he could.
Has he actually tried to go out the window that way?
No, I don't think he has, but he does do the climbing walls with the rappelling and stuff. So I mean, he's done it. He knows how to do it. But
Elisa, you'll probably know this question. Does 550, does it actually hold your weight, a single strand of it, to go like a rappel down a building kind of thing?
Well, 550 cord is made up of 7 different strands to support that weight. Honestly,
I mean, I have some, and I sure shit wouldn't trust my life.
Yeah, but he
Honestly,
can get the stuff that's made specifically for rappelling.
yeah, I would only use 550 cord for rappelling if it was a dire emergency.
I mean, why wouldn't you just buy some like actual, mountain?
Yeah, rappelling rope would be more ideal.
Yeah, because 12 floors is a long way down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing with that is, that's a great plan if you're on the 12th floor, but like I said, if you're on like the 40th floor.
Yeah. Oh my God, it would be like Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
You could do one of those extreme guys. I know Eddie's talked about it in New York, where they would just jump from one building to the next.
Oh God.
I mean, if you knew what you were doing and you were like a military guy and you're like, like jump it down 30 feet at a time, maybe that would work. But somebody that's like normal is going to be baby stepping down the side of the building as it's crumbling. It's not. I don't think it's realistic. Like if you're
wouldn't you think though?
100 feet to the something else. I don't know. But.
If it was getting crushed in the stairwell or going up to the roof and hoping it's building 7 and it all comes down in its own footprint, and I had rope, I'd be thinking the window might be an option.
Yeah. Well, we saw people jump.
Yeah,
off the towers because they didn't want to go down with it.
Yeah. To me, when you talk about rope, it's like the Mission Impossible where he like jumps and he's holding it behind him and he like stops right before the ground. That's what I think of when you do that. That's what you'd have to do. You'd have to like zzz for like 300 feet and then stop right before you hit the ground.
Well, I think Jules brings up a good point though. You need to have a plan in place now before something like that happens. Yeah. Because I'm sure he had to put anchors in his wall. Or whatnot. It's not like you're going to tie it around the kitchen table leg or something.
Well, and the other thing is, what if this is just the building that you work at?
Yeah.
Are you going to have 500 feet of mountain climbing gear under your cubicle?
Hey, you've got the executive office.
Hey, I know plenty of people that have, bug out bags that they keep at the office for stuff like this.
Well, do you know what you can use in the office? If you're in a big office building that has all that fire hose in the wall, I'll tell you what, I've seen that in a few movies, and I think that stuff would be strong enough in an emergency if you had to go.
Goes to Jimmy saying 550 will do it. He's saying that's why it's called that, but I
don't know. We did it because it was double duty.
I've used it to hold down a stroller on my car, and the thing about it is, it's great and it's super strong and everything, but I had the hardest time actually tying knots with it that would hold because of the nylon or whatever and the shielding on it. I had the hardest time tying knots that would hold because it would slip. And so that's why it was like no way to me, because you'd be like 200 feet down the side of the building and your knot would slip and you just.
Yeah, but as thin as that 550 is, you're going down at any speed whatsoever. You're probably going to lose pieces and parts of yourself somewhere, or have that stuff indented into your body for a while.
Yeah, and that's
you needed gloves. Actually, that's one of the things we added to his kit were some calf skin or goat skin gloves.
Yeah, I mean you need gloves, but you have to have something that can stop you too. Like that's what they're talking about. Enough friction to slow you down or something. Like you got to have like one of those climbing things that it goes on there and has like a brake on it. So you're not just flying down at 100 miles an hour because you've got to be able to control your descent on it. Well, I just don't think you can't do that with 550. It's not thick enough to have something to actually slow you down other than a glove in your hand or something. But what if your hand slips, 280 feet down or something, like.
How many of you avoid places like that?
Me.
On purpose?
Me. I have sweaty palms right now talking about it.
So.
I don't even go into New York City.
Yeah. The highest place here, the highest building in anywhere near me is like 10 stories. So, I mean, obviously it's still high enough to kill you, but,
I know Eddie's mom lives on the 13th floor and I've seen how close the buildings are over there. So, I'm not going to. Oh, hell no, I wouldn't. I'd kill myself.
No, just run and jump to the next building.
I would make it. There's no way. Now, if I was, 17.
Flap your hands really hard. You can.
No, I don't know. I don't fly anymore.
Oh, okay. It's funny. Well,
I might throw a child across. But Here, swing 'em.
Across where?
We'll take the littlest one. Addie can grab him by the feet. I'll grab him by the
If the
arms.
baby makes it with room to spare, then you're good.
Okay, yeah, let's not throw babies on rooftops now.
Oh man, that's horrible.
That's messed up. Yep, that it is. So, things in the news.
Uh-oh,
so-
now we're going to things in the news. Uh-oh.
Well, you know, it is what it is.
I feel like politics are coming. Banana.
There's no politics. I won't go there. We had an incident here in Indianapolis, last week. A woman heard, what she thought was the neighbor people shoveling her walkway of the snow, because we've had a little bit this year. Actually we had, it's a record year for us here for snow, which is awesome. But, she heard what she thought was the neighbors shoveling snow. So you're home, you're by yourself, and somebody's out in your walkway shoveling your snow.
Well, that's nice.
What are you going to do? This lady opened her door up, and it wasn't her neighbors. The guys came in and raped her and stole her TV. So you're sitting home, you're watching TV, you hear someone at the front door. Where's your firearm?
Eddie says banana.
At my side. On my hip. In my bra. Oh, wait.
What if you live in New York?
Must be a little gun.
The one in my bra, yes.
Oh,
What if you live in New York?
where you
That's
carrying
even better. The new
45?
gun's only 6 rounds. You can have that.
Massachusetts, you can't have a gun.
I've got a baseball bat then by my door.
Do
That's
you
for
hide
sure.
that in your bra too?
No.
Okay.
Down my pant leg, maybe.
Is that a bat in your pants? You just happen to see me.
Exactly.
But what do you have access to by your door that you can use to protect yourself with?
Right now we have a little coyote pistol. A little 22 with a little silencer on the end.
Ooh.
Probably can't have that in New York though either, huh? Or
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
Trust me, you can't.
Can you even have a bat in New York?
Yes, you can.
Oh, okay.
You have to get that registered with the local sheriff's department.
You gotta get a background check first.
Not if you
If
live
you're
in Connecticut.
See if you're mentally handicapped or whatever.
You guys see in Connecticut, they told him to go screw off. We're not going to register.
4% registered. That was it.
I was reading something about that today.
I think that's awesome.
You
Jules,
know,
what do you have?
What do I have?
Yeah, if somebody came knocking on your front door.
Well, I do have something, but in this scenario that you just laid out, I think I probably would have walked right into it. I would have opened the door and said, hey, would you shoveling my walk? I wouldn't have thought anything
Make them
of it.
cocoa. Yeah.
I
that's
wouldn't have thought anything of it.
the generation we grew up in. You make cocoa for the neighbor kids because they're doing it. You're cleaning your walk off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
that
don't have
was.
any neighbors nice enough to do that, so therefore it wouldn't even be a scenario for me. Actually, I'd lie, because that's the one I almost shot when he was trying to tell me the garage door was up at 11 o'clock at night, so I lie. That almost did happen. That's a whole different story, though.
Back to the baseball bat though. I do have this great little baseball bat that was a vendor, from one of the computer vendors years ago, but it's wood. It's all wood. It's probably about the size of my arm from my elbow to the tips of my fingers.
Oh, it's one of those little ones?
The little one's skinny, but it's a couple
Like a
inches.
billy club.
Exactly,
Club.
exactly.
Mhm.
And that's been at the head of my bed for years, but next to the door would probably be a good place for that.
Mm-hmm.
How many people out there have their snow shovels by their front doors right now outside?
I do.
Can't say I own one.
How many? Well, yeah. But how many people, if somebody was going to break in your house, how many people could use those to break in your house and break the glass on the front door?
Shovel? I have a plastic shovel.
Yeah, mine's plastic. It's actually cracking.
Yeah.
Oh,
We got a
From too
dungeon
much
front
use.
door now, so we're good.
you have a what front door?
It's like a dungeon front door. It's
A
solid
dungeon?
wood.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
it's solid wood. Yeah, you can't break through it now. It was a slider. We remodeled.
Wow. A slider on your front door? That's kind of sketch, huh?
Yeah, it was. So we put in this big solid chunk of wood with
It's like a drawbridge kind of thing?
Yeah, it has a little peephole that's like a foot square, and you open it like a little castle door.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's very cool.
You really are a princess.
That's very
I
cool.
am.
Yep. Totally. It's hilarious.
Like from the Frankenstein movie.
There you go. That's funny.
Yeah, Hunt said in the chat room he's got a splitting maul and an axe right outside his front door. You know, you're out there, you're splitting wood, you don't pay attention, you just set it down, and you know how much stuff.
They're busting through your door with your own axe.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your big door doesn't help when there's a big old axe going through it.
There is an axe outside my front door. I'm going to go make my husband move it.
Oh.
She's like, I'm putting that in the garage.
Wait, because all I got on the inside is the little coyote pistol with the little pointy bullets.
Yeah. 22 versus a little axe. That's kind of sketch too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to shoot pretty good with a little 22. That's the only problem. Like, what? 22, is that even really going to do anything at close range? When you're
No, it's just to make the coyotes go away.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So it's really not there to protect you.
No, we have our other ones for protection.
Gotcha.
That's just to keep the dogs safe so they can pee.
So here's another question while we're talking about answering our doors and stuff. Who here actually answers the door with
I
a
don't.
loaded firearm?
I don't.
I don't answer the door.
You don't
That's
answer
what
the door?
I meant. No,
No.
I usually go upstairs and I look out the window to see who it is because there's no one that would be coming to my door that I'd want to talk to. They'd call first. They wouldn't just show up at my house.
Yeah, I have that rule in my house too. You call first, or you're.
Yeah, I
good.
better be prepared because otherwise I'm not answering.
You guys don't get like deliveries or anything?
Yeah, but they don't.
Yeah, they
need
live
anything.
outside. If I'm
They
expecting a
just
delivery, I check outside.
Ding dong and walk away kind of thing. Yeah.
Or you're peeking through the curtains or whatever.
Yeah.
You see a big brown truck out front.
I mean, that's my thing. Like, I actually, if it's between XYZ time to XYZ time, I'll always peek through the people. But I mean, if it's like a weird hour or something like that, I literally always answer the door with, my 45 or my 9 or something in my hand because I live way out in the middle of nowhere. So if somebody's ringing my door and, it's a weird hour or something like that, I always answer the door just, or I peep through the peephole or whatever with something in my hand because it's like, you guys said that somebody shouldn't be there. So.
Yeah. What's not normal? So next question. Tomorrow morning you wake up, the dollar's collapsed.
Oh geez.
What's the first thing you're going to do? Alika?
Dollars collapsed. I would definitely go buy as much supplies as I could, or should I say take as much supplies as I could from my local Walmart.
Well, do you think you have enough time? People haven't realized what's going on yet. Do you have enough time to get somewhere and use whatever money that you have? Because if it collapses and they drop the banks down and you can't access your accounts or anything, all you've got on you is the cash you have.
Yeah, there's going to be enough time because I would say if something like that happened, it would probably be within 72 hours, if that people realize that the dollar's worthless. So
What's going on?
Yeah, there's a short window where you could burn whatever cash you had in your pocket, so to speak, and get what you needed. Ricky Tick.
Mm-hmm. So having cash on hand is super important.
Yeah, but I don't even follow that. I got $1 in my wallet right now.
Yeah, I have a good stockpile in a safe at home, just in case that scenario happened. I do prep for that one.
Okay, so what's the first thing you would do, Chris?
I would take the cash in my safe and I'd basically divide it in half and buy half as much food and provisions and stuff as I could, and then the other half, like an extra gun and as much ammo as I could. So just kind of go halfies with it.
Okay. Jules, what would you do? First thing.
First thing, I mean, if you've been prepping for this type of thing for a while, you already are pretty set on a bunch of stuff that you don't need to waste the time necessarily going shopping. I think I would probably make my first priority getting to where I want to be everything goes crazy. You know what I mean? And once I get there, if there's still time, then I might venture back out and go, hit some stores. But I think my biggest concern would be to get out of Dodge first. I know that there's definitely a window, but you don't want to be trying to get out once they start closing.
You don't want to be at Walmart when it happens.
Right. And I definitely don't want to be in the chaos. I want to be in front of the crowd, just quietly slipping away and watching it remotely.
Yeah, I ventured out probably 2 snowstorms ago because I just wanted to see it. I don't do that, normally because we're prepped and ready to go. So we can just roll over and go back to sleep if we want. But I wanted to go see it firsthand, and we went to the store and there were lines. Seriously, every register was going and there were lines of people, probably 40 people deep.
Wow.
And it's like, are you kidding me? And this is just a snowstorm. Can you imagine what's going to happen? And these people were nice. I mean, they were talking amongst themselves. Nobody was getting irate or anything like that. But you put in panic and fear. Oh my goodness. That's the last place you want to be, is out at a store. If you have to go to the store, go to an alternative place. If you need meds, go break into a vet's office. Here I go again. Here I am.
Go with the B&E's again. God.
Go to a CVS, go to a Walgreens, not Walmart or, the big grocery store in town or anything, because that's where everybody else is going to go.
So in a downgrade scenario, we automatically know that Lori is the thief in this scenario.
Whatever it takes.
I'm the murderer. She's the thief.
There you go.
Right. There you go. Alika's the survival man, the woodsman with the little hat on his head.
There you go. Princess, what's the first thing you would do?
I think that we're pretty well prepared too. I think I'd hunker down and let the chaos subside a little, just because I don't like crowds at Christmas, let alone in emergency situations.
Yeah, it's going to take
down over there.
What about 3 days for pure panic to set in?
Yeah.
That's probably what you're going to have.
Yeah, I think we have a good enough group of, our neighborhood's about 60% rentals and 40% year-rounders. So I think we have a good enough group of, just 100% people here all the time that I know who we can trust. So I think we're all pretty prepared, just because we live kind of in the mountains and we have enough stockpiled stuff, water,
Gotcha.
food, ammo.
Well, before we run out of time, I want to thank each of you for being on tonight. Jules, thanks for coming on.